clutch. We've got our dummy shaft. First. And make sure I get the holes first. There's a whole bunch of holes around there, but only 3 of them for the bolts. Okay, there's one there. It's about 11 o'clock. And this is not easy. Okay, that's the first one started. We forgot to paint our clutch cover nice pretty blue or something, so the only time you ever see it is now. Now this car has to go through, unfortunately, through what in South Australia we have an inspection department at Regency Park, which is a group of police that specialise in inspecting vehicles for safety issues, that sort of thing. Because the VIN plate is missing off of this car, the actual VIN tag, the guy that I bought it off doesn't know anything about it. So yeah, the car now has to go through inspection, vehicle inspection, which is fine. But we're going to have to do things like the suspension. We'll check all that out once all this is done, and we'll see if those ball joints are any good. If not, we're going to have to rebuild the front end of the car as well, because otherwise it will not pass. And we want it to pass. So we've got our gearbox in position, we've got our mount on, we've got our new second-hand rubber mount inside there, so now the gearbox is actually mounted on to the mount. It's actually supported, not just floating around like before. We've got our gearbox all in position, so we did this in the end by putting the bell housing on first and then the box in after. Now if we had a hoist we would have put the whole thing in together, but it was just too awkward to do, so that's how we've done it. All we're going to do now is whack our tail shaft on and get those infamous linkages up here. Those linkage rods that went from here to the swivel up there. I was having trouble with the linkage that operates first and second, which is back here. It was just bent out of shape, so we're still going to have to muck around with that. But we've got everything set now, so we're going to throw some oil in here. This is the swivel where the push rod from the clutch pedal comes out of the firewall. Actually goes on this way onto here, comes on through that side, and then this side here swivels back and forth on the push rod that goes onto the thrust fork in the clutch. Now in here there's supposed to be some bushings on both sides, so obviously long gone. So what I've just discovered is some 5/8 heater hose. I think this is 5/8. Goes in perfectly inside here. It only goes a certain way on one, up to a certain depth on one side, and it goes in further on the other side, so I'll just cut it there and put some over the other side. And also this is what goes against the side of the I think it goes through the fender or the inner fender on the driver's side, and that attaches inside there like that. So that bracket goes on there, so you can see how much slop there would be if I didn't put anything on. So the 5/8 hose also just happens to go nicely over that part as well. So I'll just put a heap of rubber grease in there, but that should do the trick. That'll help to alleviate any of the sloppage when you're operating the clutch. So there's my two pieces. One goes in nicely over that side. And this one goes up to there on this side. So now I'll just pack them with some rubber grease. But I've picked up this seal here from Hemi Spares. This is for a 3-speed Borg Warner manual gearbox. There's the part number if you ever have to do it. And going that way. Now just knock it on with a socket. How's it looking? It's getting there. So we've finally got the intake exhaust manifold gaskets come in, so we can now stick that on. This is what brand was this? I think it was Felpro, just like this one here. So, and this is also the new rocker cover gasket we're going to stick on. The gasket I got in the VRS kit before this was a metal gasket, so hoping this does just as good a job. I'm sure it will. But what I've really been waiting for is this here, the extension housing seal. Very different to the one I got before. So let's see how this one goes in. If this one goes in, we can finally fill the gearbox up with oil and take it for a drive. Okay, so there's the extension housing. So we've got to knock that seal in. Now I'm really hoping that this time we've got the right one. Seems to want to fit this way. So let's see if I can start up by hand. Now I'm going to need two hands, so I just got to put the phone down, but basically I've got myself just something that's going to fit nicely over it, like that, so I can tap it in. So let me just do that. And there we go, it's in. Huh? Okay, so we're actually starting on the bodywork now, and we've just put, should have filmed this to start with, but we'll do this half of the boot now. We've used this paint stripper here, because we were debating on whether we're just going to go in with 80 grit paper and just go back to bare metal. We'll just start with the stripper first, and this stuff here works really, really well, so we're just going to pour some now. There you go, you can do this half of the boot lid. Always wear a mask, of course, when you do this sort of stuff. Now I can tell you that the can said 15 minutes time for it to do its job, but that wasn't even, that was barely 6-7 minutes, and it lifted off this much paint. paint stripper can be messy, but it can make things a lot quicker. You can go with the key barrel as well, Joel, won't matter. Look at that on the chrome. It's actually brought some chrome back. That's worked pretty good. Run it down to the ground here if you want. $65 maybe, year-old paint. No, 60. No, I think 60. Did its job. Just rust. Looks like it was hiding rust. Or we'll cut that out, we'll put another panel in there. You can see how nicely that's coming along. Now we're using, that's right, we're using two polishing machines here. Now these are dual action, so they're rotating in two different directions. So it's getting dual action sanding at the same time. It's coming out quite nice. So it's about, I would say, a couple of hours, including paint stripping, and just going over it with a dual action sander. So it's actually pretty good metal, apart from, you know, areas like this. It's actually pretty good steel to work with. Alright, so this is just a mixture of about a third vinegar water and the rest water, which we're going to mix up, and then we're just going to wash this bare steel, and that will help stop it from rusting over, and it will actually kill any surface rust that's in the metal now that we can't see. So we'll just give that a bit of a wash. And in not too long it will turn into a goldy colour. Maybe we should turn it into a DeLorean. We'll just put some clear coat over this. And that's what it turns out like. Once the vinegar starts to dry off, you get that nice goldy colour. So this is sealed and protected from rust now, for a little while anyway, until we get back to it. So next we'll get all these, probably should have done this first, get the tail lights, bumpers, all the external things off the car. This was just really a test to see how the paint stripper worked, how well it worked. So we could make up our minds which road we were going to go down. So we still had to finish it off with sanding. The paint stripper didn't get all of the paint and primer off, but it did a fair bit. So you know, it wasn't much work to get the rest of it off. It was actually pretty easy. So where we're at the moment, as you saw, the car drove, but we've still got problems with the gearbox. Now it's crunching, getting it in gears, and I'm pretty sure what's happening is it's just not disengaging. I've adjusted the clutch fork as far as it'll go. It's just not separating the clutch plate from the flywheel to the point where it can change gears smoothly. You can change gears, but yeah, it crunches getting in. So what I'm thinking is it's either the thrust bearing, well, that definitely needs replacing because it's wearing, or it's the wrong clutch. You know, now originally these things, as I've just done some research, had a 3-fingered or 3-prong clutch, like the old school clutch systems. It's got a diaphragm style in there at the moment, which you can use, but it's just not it's not pushing in far enough to disengage the pressure plate from the flywheel. So I'm ordering a thrust bearing, and we've got to get that sorted out. It's got to change gears nice and smoothly. I thought we had it, but it's not quite there. And we've got to start making some patch panels for these areas here. The boot itself was pretty clean. It's a lot better than what I thought it would be. Some issues down the bottom there, so we'll get to that when we start doing the body work. As you can see, someone's put some filler in here once before, so this has already been painted at some stage. I've got to order some quarter panels, which you can still get new aftermarket. You can get outers and inners for these things. This sort of thing here, I'm going to have to manufacture, and all that. But it's coming along.